Nebraska Independent Senate candidate Dan Osborne is giving Republicans a run for their money in the Cornhusker state. Polls show him neck and neck with incumbent Deb Fischer. And now the Republican Party, well, they are scrambling. They're spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to hold on to the seat. Here's the latest ad from the Osborne campaign.
When something was broken at the factory and nobody else could fix it, Dan Osborne is who we'd call. The CEO took a $2 million bonus and then tried to cut our pay. People have given their lives to this company. Dan stood up, saved my job, saved our jobs. He took on the big corporations for people like us. He's a heck of a mechanic, but an even better guy.
I'm Dan Osborne, and I approve this message. Because if you want to fix Washington, send in a mechanic.
Nebraska's independent Senate candidate Dan Osborne joins us now.
Good to see you there, Dan. Look, I'm loving the puppy, baby. I did a puppy ad for my U.S. Senate race in 2006. You got to go check it out on YouTube, baby. It's really good. I'm loving it. Loving it. Good to see you.
I'll check it out. My wife's out of town, and he needs a lap to sit in. So here we are.
You got puppy dude. So look, you're causing a little bit of a stir out your way, and I'm loving it for where I'm sitting. If I'm a candidate or a chairman looking at a race like yours, what are the dynamics for you right now in this race, 30 days out? How are you assessing your chances? It's very, very close. In fact, Slate is reporting that, Nebraska could cost Republicans the Senate. And if Osborne wins or even puts a credible scare into Fischer, his campaign could serve as a template for how to dislodge Republicans from statewide monopolies in places where Democrats have long struggled to compete. You came at this campaign from a very independent state of mind, and that seems to have resonated with a lot of voters across the state.
Yeah, certainly we're definitely competing. I'm not a political analyst. I'm a mechanic. I'm doing this because corporate greed came knocking on my door in the form of, saw the commercial, Kellogg's making record profits, and the same swipe of the pen tried to take from us as workers, and we stood up. And it really opened my eyes to the fact that if we band together around issues and causes, we can make a difference in people's lives, a positive difference. So that's what we're doing. We're pulling ahead, but ultimately, it's all about the people of Nebraska. I don't take corporate money. Our average donation is $35. We've raised over $4 million. So it's really about the way the framers of the Constitution set this whole thing out, a government for and by the people.
Dan, if you were to be elected to the U.S. Senate, would you vote to codify Roe versus Wade?
The answer to that is yes. And here's why. In my own personal life, I'm pro-life. I would never advocate for one of my daughters to have an abortion. I would fight certainly for that not to happen. But the flip side of that coin is, since Roe v. Wade has been overturned, women are dying. I've talked to many medical professionals that talk about women coming into their offices every day with pelvic sepsis, and they have to leave their state to go get it. They have to go get a surgery, or not a surgery, but a medical procedure done. And some women are dying because they're not able to get to the doctor. So, absolutely, I would.
Dan, the Republicans in the state have attempted to paint you as like an independent in Democrats' clothing, for lack of a better term. But the Washington Post wrote this about you on Friday. They noted that if elected, Osborne said he would seek to create an independent caucus rather than caucus with Democrats or Republicans. The four independents who currently serve in the Senate, Sanders plus Angus King, Joe Manchin, and Kyrsten Sinema, they all caucus with Democrats. And I say this as a native Nebraskan from North Omaha. Why is it important to you to continue, if in fact you are elected, because this race is quite competitive and you very well could end up being the next United States Senator from Nebraska, to not caucus with Democrats, but to keep this independent streak? And then what is the biggest difference? You're not going to caucus with them, but You know, are there things that the Republican Party has put forward that you could see yourself voting with Republicans on?
First of all, I met your mom, Terry, at the Omaha Star. Amazing lady.
She told me about you. She said, oh, I interviewed him. I was like, yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, she's doing great things there for sure. But ultimately, you know, I want to challenge the system. Deb Fischer called us a political science experiment, you know, throwing a jab my way. And we turned in 12,000 signatures from all 93 counties. And then we started polling ahead. But I own that, because you know what else is a political science experiment? The Declaration of Independence, right? The Constitution of the United States. This whole thing is a political science experiment. And I think it's time to take it one step further and challenge the system. So no, I don't plan on caucusing with either party. George Norris was the last independent senator from Nebraska. He helped create the nonpartisan unicameral that we enjoy today, that I think DC could take a few notes from. But he didn't caucus with anyone his last term. So there's some precedents set there. But ultimately, again, I just want to do what's best for the people of Nebraska. And like for me and my family and my friends that I talk to on a daily basis, I'm a steam fitter by trade. Certainly not a wealthy person, but this two-party system isn't working for us. George Washington and James Madison in Federalist Paper number 10 warned us of the two factions and where it could lead our country. And I think we're finding ourselves there today.
And speaking to that point, Dan, and I think is an important one, it is a thread that seemingly runs throughout a number of down-ballot campaigns, U.S. Senate, governor's races, and certainly state legislative races, where candidates, while they may be aligned with a particular party, and I'm thinking right now of Larry Hogan in my state of Maryland, do have a very strong independent voice. And so there, to your point about the precedent, it's not just the actual precedent of having someone being independent per se, but the idea of leveling up exactly the things you're talking about, that are anchored in the way we govern ourselves. How are people responding to that on the ground across your state? Because, you know, Nebraska is very red, and then there's a blue dot, right? And so across the state in more traditionally Republican areas where you're going to have to be very competitive, how is your messaging resonating with those Republicans?
Yeah, so I've done 140 publicly advertised events, town halls, mock debates where Deb Fischer doesn't show up to because she's refusing to debate. 120 of those have been outside of Omaha and Lincoln. So I've traveled the state pretty extensively. And what I hear from people all across Nebraska is they're fed up. You know, the polling data shows us ahead. I wasn't surprised by that, because most people are they're frustrated with the status quo. They're frustrated. They see, you know, how much corporations affect and influence our elections. And they're fed up with it. They're fed up with the price at the gas pump. They're fed up with not being able to fill their grocery cart up with the same price that they were able to, you know, 3-5 years ago. And they're feeling it. And when people are hurting, they start to take notice. I'm one of them. I haven't made a lot of money, you know, the last 12 months of my life. And so when I go to the grocery store, if I have to change a tire on my son's car, I certainly have to decide whether I'm getting chicken or steak for my grocery list that week. That's the things that regular people deal with every day in their lives. And they see the millionaire and the billionaire class as the ruling class, and making decisions that certainly don't affect themselves, but it definitely affects us in their daily life. And so I would say going out and talking to those folks every day, they understand that.
Dan Osborne, who is running for the U.S. Senate out of Nebraska as an independent, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us this morning.